And next up, we have Mathanraj from Bayer. Hello, Math.
Hello everyone. Hi, Wiming.
You're looking very snazzy this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
I think I'm meeting with James Bond.
Yes,
Very dapper, very nice.
and I hope you like the background as well.
I love the background. I especially love the bow tie.
Okay, next time I will give it
Now you
one
set
to
the
you.
standard for fashion.
All
Our
right.
conference. So Matthew, you're from Bayer, and you're a project manager, project engineer, delivering technologies, engineering works to sites all around Asia Pac region, I believe. So what drives you? What drives you to do that?
Well, my passion is mainly on bringing the digitalization to the industries, to the traditional pharmaceutical industries, where we can utilize the advanced technologies and make use of it to produce medicinal products, where these pharma industries looks like we are the last one to get the technologies with the restrictions, yeah, with the strict regulations, yeah. So
Right.
that's drives me to get into this industry and make use of the available technologies, yeah.
Very good. And so the presentation this morning is going to be MES as a building block for data integrity and validation strategy. And without further ado, we'll get into that. So the floor is yours, Matt.
Yeah, so can you see the screen?
We can see your screen.
All right. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today's topic that I'm presenting is, MES as a building block for data integrity and validation strategy. These are the agenda for today's topic. So I'm going to cover the overview of regulatory expectations, data integrity by design through MES, and then validation approaches for MES, and role of MES in audits, and then some extended benefits of MES, like when we utilize it, all the futures, and moving towards the industry 4.0, that is also covered at last. Yeah. Um, in general, if you look at the regulatory expectation, we can see the increasing number of warning letters, mainly for data integrity failings, uh, which was presented yesterday by some of our panelists. Um, yeah, so for that reason, all the regulatory authorities are coming up with new guidelines. They are drafting um, new guidelines on data integrities, and those may come into effect during this year, or early next year. So some of the guidelines are, by MHRA and also from PICS for data integrity are under draft, and then WHO guideline on data integrity 2. They have issued the third draft for comments, and then data integrity for CGMPs, which is given by FDA. US FDA. So all these are coming up, which again emphasize, provides more clarity on what needs to be included, and as part of data managed digitally, uh, from traditional paper-based product relevant data. Yeah. So some of the expectation are, computerized systems should comply with regulatory requirements and associated guidance. So these should be validated for intended purpose, which requires an understanding of the computerized system function within a process. So mainly for this reason, the acceptance of vendor supplied validation data in isolation of system configuration and user intended use is not acceptable. In a way, it has to be tested at the end user infrastructure, and not only limiting to the functional verification, but also needs to fulfill the performance with the
Sorry
Mathanraj, sorry.
to interrupt you. We are seeing your only we're seeing the next the so your presentation from the presenter's view. We need to see the I think we need to see the full presentation.
If you go to display settings, you can swap the view.
The screen, yeah.
All right. Is it okay now?
Oh, much better. Thank you.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, sorry about it. So here you can see the yeah. So the IT infrastructure needs to be established, and it has to be tested on the field itself as part of the computerized system validation. And moreover, the functional verification demonstrates that required information is consistently and completely presented. So validation for intended purpose ensures that steps for generating the custom report accurately reflect those described in data checking SOP, that the report output is consistent with procedural step for performing subsequent review. So these are all some of the checks that needs to be considered while developing an MES system, where the verification and step-by-step procedures and data checking procedure and SOPs to be included, and it should be consistent with the procedures, the steps. Yeah. Yep. All right. Then the application should be validated, and IT infrastructure should be qualified. So basically, the infrastructure plays a part to have your application up and running um, with the configuration established. So for this reason, the application, IT infrastructure plays a key part in setting up your MES system, and that needs to be validated. Yeah. Where a computerized system replaces a manual operation, there should be no resultant decrease in product quality, process control, and quality assurance. So for this reason, manual operation and traditional way of recording things, when a computerized replace that, it should instead increase the quality and quality assurance and process control. For any reason, there shouldn't be any risk in overall process. Yeah. So that needs to be carefully considered when it comes to the regulatory expectations. Yeah. All right, so the next one is, you all know about this data integrity by design, where ALCOW principles. So how these can be built into the MES system by processing data maps. So, for this reason, the errors can be avoided by developing a system which is ALCOW compliant. So basically, it needs to be attributable, um, and predefined process flow with data format to emphasize the right first time approach to be included, and it helps to it will be legible as well. This will help to easy retrieval of previous data in pharmaceutical industries, in terms of doing your investigation, data analysis, which will be very helpful when we have this system online. The data is online available. Yeah. And it has to be accurate. So MES ensures accuracy in data and records by using accuracy checker function in an electronic system. So that is also possible when you built in the MES to have this checker function electronically to verify your data accuracy. It is original, so data generates and stored in a original format integrity built in the MES, where the primary data is obtained as to ensure preservation of the content and meaning. And contemporaneous recording has to be there with the use of electronic record and the process flow sequence. The recording will happen contemporaneously. So this can be built in by design while implementing the MES. And the Alcove Plus is to have complete, consistent, enduring, and available, which is also possible by building, developing an MES system. Yeah. All right. So in this slide, you can actually see the validation approach. So generally, any computerized system, we will start with URS and risk assessment, which will be the first thing to really identify what is required and what are the risk and mitigation actions. Followed by the business role descriptions to be clearly defined upfront. So who is going to do all these day-to-day execution, reviewing, approving, and who is going to manage the data, and who has the access to the backup and recovery. So all these business roles to be clearly defined upfront. And with these three, the functional specification will be developed. And based on this functional specification, the design and development will happen. Of course, the software can be developed with its own methodology, with Scrum or whatever backlog verification that the developers are familiar with. In terms of validation, GMP computerized system validation, we would need to have this design specification and configuration specification in order to perform the design qualification, where the design criteria meets the requirements and also covers all the mitigation actions from the risk assessment. So during this design and build, it can be deployed or tested in a development environment. If you see, it would be it would be better to have 3 different environment where you can have development development environment, test environment, and followed by productive environment. So during this development stage, there will be changes happening, and bugs, and the software needs to be revised and developed. So for this reason, the agile methodology, which will be useful to have this backlog work with the developers, where they don't really realize that the change is happening because it's part of their development itself. So for that reason, the agile methodology is more helpful during this development of this particular software. So once the development is happened, then we can move on to the testing, where you can test module by module, software module test. In fact, the IQ needs to be performed for the infrastructures and associated instruments, scanners, which is associated to this MES system. So generally, at a pilot scale, scanners will be used to scan the barcodes at each process to ensure that the process steps are completed. Some advanced automation can be also utilized, the PAT technology, process analysis technology, which can capture the IPC data, real-time data from the system, from the equipment itself. So all these instruments and scanners needs to be IQ'd. So once the software module and hardwares are prepared, then it can be integrated to perform the integration test with the hardwares. And on top of that, the hardware configuration to be also tested. So, and then the authorization and role specification according to business role description uh, has to be tested at this stage. So once all these testings are completed, then we can move on to the productive system where the execution of deployment and user acceptance test will happen. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the productive environment needs to be tested. The user acceptance test needs to be tested in the productive environment to ensure that you are testing at the installation itself, and there will not be any modification or changes happening beyond this. So for that reason, it has to be tested on the final environment setup with very limited changes and very limited deviations that we will expect, because we have been the previous stages during the testing itself, almost all the key requirements are tested. So moving on with the deployment on productive environment, you will have less and less um, deviations or surprises. Yeah. So once the testing is completed, then the procedures and configuration management plan to be established and followed in terms of who is doing what, and how the developers, the software team is going to support, what is their contracts, service level agreements, or whatever. All needs to be finalized and released for production. So this is a typical validation approach in a computerized MES computerized system. Yeah. All right, I move on to the next one, which is role of MES in audits. So MES supports regulatory compliance that you all know. So it will helps to emphasize electronic batch record, moving from paper based, and also by providing correct data right first time with auto detection of data input field for manual entries of data. So there will be always a check function which acts like a fourth eye principle, which will make sure you are the data are entered correctly, um, on top of the real four eye principles. Then it's fast, reliable, secure data entry and improved overall process output with early detection of deviation. Yep. So if any with the use of data, uh, we can make use of the previous entries, and we can also look at the SPC statistical process control to really see whether there is any out of trend or deviations which is going to happen in the coming batches. So the trends can be closely monitored, which will be really helpful in terms of our continuous process verification approach. Yeah? And providing the interface with LIMS, warehouse management system, and ERP provides accuracy of material specification and emphasize tracking the resultant characteristics. So this is an extended usage of MES, which will connect to the LIMS, where the material specifications and the raw materials, the test, and the key information can be also available online when we are integrating all these things. So we can easily see the trend of a particular batch provides a particular batch of this raw material has some deviating trend, or those kind of things which is more visible, which can be easily identified instead of having you know um, an investigation process. Yeah. Yeah, and as I said, ALCO principle, data integrity functionality will reduce the DI violations, and consequently less number of warning letters will as a result. Yeah. Last but not least, integrated data management interface with other system facilities. The right material, facilities, methods, procedures, parameters were utilized in manufacturing of a direct product with the required quality, safety, and efficacy. So we are going to make use of the data, and we will have an so-called an integrated system within the system facilities, which makes sure the right materials, facilities, methods, procedures, and parameters were utilized. Yep. All right. In this slide, you can actually see some of the extended benefits of MES. The EBRs can be put it in clouds. So some of the advantage for using the clouds are, you know, storing the electronic batch records on clouds reduce the capital investment, the investment cost for physical server, and it will be very agile. Web-based application can be accessed from different device. Um, Data retention and disaster recovery are centrally managed. Externalization of IT services and less capital investment. So if you look at the main intention of this is to have less capital investment, where the industries are really very careful to have a huge investment for this MES system. So while investing the infrastructure, which may impact the cost, for that reason, going on clouds, which will justify your business case in terms of ROI, return of investments, which could be one of the benefits of going for this EBR in clouds. Some of the pitfalls here are like, IT security issues, internet access, reliable internet connection and infrastructure required for IT and telecom infrastructure, which is also a nationwide infrastructure that all the countries are now looking into for 5G networks, which is which can further develop and given to the manufacturers with the government initiatives, which can reduce these infrastructure issues. But generally, not all countries are moving in this direction. So this is considered as one of the pitfalls. Yeah. Okay, so when you integrate MES with ERP, ERP is a system to control the inventory and customer demand, whereas MES to build within the manufacturing plant. When these two communicates to each other, so there will be a seamless communication between supply chain and the manufacturing itself. So we don't get any bulk order or surprise orders where our production operators needs to work around the clock. So it will be more integrated in a way that a real-time production adjustment can happen, and can ensure the accurate demand forecast and avoid overproduction, and just-in-time delivery is still possible, and then avoid rush orders, seamless change orders. Yeah. And then finally, Internet of Things, where you can also extend to digitalization. Yeah. So here is my last slides, where which is talking about MES DCS interface. I think few of our colleagues were already, few of our participants were already touched based on this. So mainly when DCS is used for recipe management and for engineering things. When this MES is synchronized with DCS, where you can really see the inputs and outputs instead of only looking at the outputs. Yeah. In a process. So the importance of real-time data, how to achieve an effective center strategy. So DCS system is considered here. And moreover, the IoT, industrial Internet of Things, revolutioning manufacturing by leveraging intelligent connected device in factories. there are even more opportunities to fine tune operators with better data and process integration. So all talking about more integrated systems, when we extend these usage of MES and the interface with more and more IT systems. So for this reason, it will it will it will provide a kind of more integrated system where real-time data um, can be seen easily. Yeah. All right. So I come to an end. Thanks for listening to me. I hope it would be interesting and useful.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for your presentation.
Yep.
I've got a couple of questions for you. While
Mhm.
we wait for more questions from our panelists, from our audience. So your organization with MES implemented on several sites. Do you actually see a reduction of I think audit findings from various auditors from different regulatory bodies as a result of MES? Could you cite any examples?
Yeah, actually, as I said, MES is it has the data integrity by design. When we build the MES system with the data integrity, it has plenty of advantages, mainly in dealing with the auditors, where you don't really need to have these paper-based documents. Huh? Yeah, we have seen, in fact, when we get rid of these paper-based batch records, definitely there could be a lot of observations can be avoided in terms of, we have these papers found somewhere else where halfway filled, the records are still there. So it's all comes with the I mean, not only specific in my industry, but in my company, this is what I have observed generally with the CMOs and other industries. Huh? Yeah, so you will find a lot of papers and halfway filled records, so which could be avoided when we are using a digital platform to enter your batch related information. On top, it cannot be simply destroyed, or it cannot be simply deleted off. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I like how your presentation flowed from traditional MES and then into IoT and all that.
Yep.
We're moving. I think one of the questions from yesterday as well was talking about how things have gone from CSV today to CSA.
Mm-hmm.
I think one big component is the area of critical thinking, right, which is part of CSA, and lots of risk assessments and things. How do you see your organization embracing CSA?
Yeah, in fact, if you look at the assurance part, where it's not only stop at the validation, right? So it will move on with the day-to-day operation. So how these things are connected to each other. So we are also moving in that direction, but not yeah, we are also moving in that direction in the name of having this continuous monitoring, CPPs and CQVs in terms of PQAs, product quality, yeah, the reviews, PQRs, where all these can be interrelated, which will have a great benefit when we have this data available real time. So these periodic reviews to assure the product quality uh, from the computerized system is possible. Yeah, when we have these connections, when we have these dots connected from validation to production. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Mark, for your time. Thank you for dressing up for this.
Yes, thank you.
You look great.
And yeah, I have to tell that, we are all working from home for this pandemic situation. So there are a lot of opportunities beyond these limitations, especially for manufacturing and ITs. There are still plenty of opportunities with this pandemic. So yeah, so let's keep going with this. And thanks for organizing this wonderful event, which is also moving in that direction without having this face-to-face interaction this year. Yeah, looking forward for the rest of the day. Ming.
Take care. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye-bye. And next